Like when you think of like when the moon hits your eye and somebody's got like the sausage links.
And he's just grinding it.
He made that motherfucking shit at the kitchen table and we took that to school and ate it. We gave
God.
that basement meat to other kids.
Hello and welcome to Music.gay. For just a moment, I would like for you to close your eyes, unless you're driving, and imagine that you're in a rocket ship blasting towards the sun at 1,000 miles an hour. You're on 150 milligrams of pure ecstasy. You're wearing a full-body silk robe with a cashmere scarf, and the radiant warmth of the solar body is bathing you from head to toe. The ship smashes into the surface of the sun, and your body instantly atomizes and disperses across the cosmos, and you witness the birth and death of 1 billion galaxies at once as your entire being caresses each corner of the ever-expanding universe. That's a little bit what it feels like to hear Sarah Potenza sing. It's amazing.
Oh my God.
My guest is, in fact, the one and only Sarah Potenza, a musician who's been applauded by Pharrell, Simon Cowell, Christina Aguilera, Adam Levine, Heidi Klum, Sofia Vergara, Blake Shelton, Howie Mandel, and millions of other fans across the world. And she's entering her Disco Diva dance era like a comet enters the atmosphere. An Italian-American powerhouse, she weaves stories of pride, acceptance, and self-love into larger-than-life ballads and bangers, and she does some sick covers as well, and we're going to talk about that. She is a colossal-voiced singer who merges old-school influences with a modernistic sound. Or at least that's what Rolling Stone said, and I think they know a little something about music. So if you can, imagine Sam Cooke and Amy Winehouse had a baby, and that baby was raised by a throuple of Janis Joplin, Adele, and Diana Ross. That's kind of Sarah Potenza in a nutshell. But don't take my word for it. Visit sarahpotenza.net. That's sarahpotenza.net, and listen for yourself. You can also go to Instagram, and you can reach Sarah at I am Sarah Potenza, spelled the same way, if you feel like sliding into the DMs. She has just released a new version of Need You Now, a song that I will admit I didn't love when Lady Antebellum sang it, but I cannot help but rock out to it now. This new dance remix that she and the legendary Dave Audet just put out is fantastic, and you need to hear it. But you do have to hear her to understand all of this, and I promise you, if you're within about a 3-mile radius of her the next time she's singing, the chances are you will, in fact, hear her. She is bold, she's brash, she's beautiful, and we're so glad to have her on Music.gay. Sarah Potenza, welcome.
Oh my God, thank you. I think that has to be the best intro I've ever gotten in my life. That intro was sick.
I'll take it. Yeah, you can. I'll send that to you.
Thank you, Frankie.
Play
Thank
it every
you.
night to hear.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I ever have any self-doubt, I'm just pump myself up with that.
That's exactly what I want to hear. Of course. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show. I would love for you to just give me like your elevator pitch in your own words. I've said in so many words what it is that you do, but when somebody asks you, "Hey, what do you do?" What do you tell them?
I do. I sing really fun, heartfelt music with a big, full, powerful voice. If you like diva, you like big, soulful music, you like to move, you like to be moved, I'm for you.
Yeah, you absolutely are. It's big, it's soulful, it's heartfelt, it's all of those things for sure. What brought you into this place? Like, I know that we all have a journey that kind of gets us to where we end up, and it's always changing as musicians, but like for you specifically, I know there's gotta be blues back there. I know there's probably some Americana. Right now it is like disco, it's rock, it's all these things. What kind of got you into music in the first place and then got you to this Disco Diva era?
Well, I would say in the first place, I could always sing. When I was a little kid, that was something about me that made me feel really good. Like self-esteem wise, I was kind of a little firecracker, and I was just a chubby little girl, and I could always sing, and that was something that always gave me like this really big sense of self-worth. And it was just something I was drawn to, like a feeling like it made me feel good when I was singing. I felt like I was in my purpose, or like it was something that was like my superpower or whatever, and I felt like I want to do this. And
how did you know you could sing? I mean, was there an opportunity presented, or you just were like, I'm singing now, so that's what I'm doing?
I guess I was more like, I'm singing now. My parents listened to a lot of records, blues, a lot of blues. And they had some really amazing records they had, like Janis Joplin, the Allman Brothers, Bette Midler, James Taylor, Bonnie Raitt, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. They had all these records, and
with big, powerful voices.
My mom, and my parents love like really good singers.
Yeah.
And so I listened to like things like Joe Cocker or whatever when I was a kid, and I literally cannot remember not singing or not knowing that was A, something I could do, and B, what I was going to do.
That's badass.
Yeah. So yeah. It's a blessing and a curse in a weird way, because when you're like a little kid, like if you wanted to be a teacher or you wanted to be, I don't know, like a marine biologist, or you wanted to be a nurse or whatever, like you could just be like, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going from point A to point B to point C. But as a singer, like you could ask your parents, like, how do I do that? And they were like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Which gave me, I was a very anxious little kid, a lot of anxiety of like, how do I do that? You know?
Yeah, totally. No, that makes sense. It's not a linear path, right? It's always going to be this thing that like you gotta. Every musician is sort of figuring it out for themselves. So, I would ask then, like, what are the reasons that you stayed with it? Like, what drew you to it and kept you in it, and what are the parts that are like most difficult?
Oh, I am a very stubborn bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you will not outwork me. You will not outweight me. You will not outwit me. Like, I am going to get this. And so a lot of it was, a lot of it was just me being like, my, like, I can't fail. Like me, maybe ego, maybe drive, part of both, and stubbornness and my love of it. Yeah. And then every time I felt like I wanted to quit, something would come along that just pulled me back in. It could have been a really small opportunity at the time that seemed big, or a big opportunity. And it just kind of, I don't know, it's just something that I couldn't imagine not doing. Yeah.
Are there moments where you can imagine not doing? Are there ever moments where you're like, oh my God, I'm done? Like, it doesn't sound like it. I mean,
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't think I'll ever be done. It's not always easy. Like, definitely, it's really hard. Releasing music, I think, is harder than people think, because you put so much blood, sweat, tears, money, love, joy, hopes, ego, dreams, all of this shit into this thing. And then you put it out into the universe. And then some people are like, yeah, that's great. And then most people are like, don't ever hear it.
Yeah.
And we live in this day and age where it's like, oh, like I have to put a song out, basically try to get on a playlist on a platform like Spotify that doesn't really pay me anything. And that's the goal. So the goal is to be heard by a bunch of people, not paid.
Yep.
And how do you even get on those playlists?
Yep.
And now I guess Spotify wants to make them more automated. Like, they're not going to be curated by people, which will make it even harder. But then at the same time, it's a really great time to be a musician, because like when I was a kid growing up, it would be like, well, how do you even, I mean, there was no internet. Yeah. So how would you even make a podcast or become discovered or do anything? So there's a really great chance that you can build a cult following, and that you might, I don't know, I don't really believe in like being discovered.
Yeah.
But I think that's like a kind of there's a lot of myths that society has. Okay. So earlier off camera, Frank and I were talking about my girlfriend and how she was a cop for a long time. And we went to San Francisco, and she was like, yo, this shit's dangerous. But I have the perception of like, yay, it's fun, the Golden Gate, and you can get whatever you want to eat, and hippies, and yay. That's the perception I think people have of the music business. Like the outside, where they're like, oh my God, you were on The Voice, so like you made it. And you're like, yeah, I don't think you know the reality, but I don't want to spoil it for you. Yeah.
No, that's totally true.
You know?
Right? Like, and that was something I was going to ask about too, is like, you have had these experiences that were on a big stage, and you were seen by big people and all this, and you killed it, right? Like, you absolutely crushed. And yet that doesn't necessarily ever translate into a single dollar or another person at a show or another listen, but some of it must translate to just being known, right?
So it did translate to more people at my shows, more
good.
money, more
Good.
like, yeah. And that was huge for me. It did change your platform. And people would answer your emails, you know,
Yeah, there you go.
like clubs and bookers and stuff. But, as far as like it being the be all end all, like, oh my God, I was on The Voice or AGT and now I'm going to be Jennifer Hudson. Like, it really doesn't work like that. Like, there's a ton of people that are incredibly talented. One of the things I was blown away by when I did The Voice was the amount of talent. Like, everyone that I was on the show with and everyone that I've seen on that are incredibly talented, beautiful, wonderful human beings who are just trying to make it in this. And it's crazy and it's not easy. So, yeah. I mean, I've been very lucky. Those experiences were like amazing to have. And
how did they come about? I mean, that had to take hard work even to just
yeah, I think my girlfriend and I were talking about this the other day too. Like, I've always sort of had this theory called an arm's reach, and I don't know where I heard it from. Like, it wasn't, I didn't make it up.
Sure.
But you reach out and pull in what's within an arm's reach and pull yourself to that level and then reach again. And so I had auditioned for The Voice in Chicago for season 2, which was in like 2010 maybe.
Yeah.
And then I auditioned again in Nashville for season 7. And then season 8, they called me and said, hey, we saw you on this TV show called Music City Roots, which is a TV show here that they used to have here. And
in Nashville.
And we looked up your name to see if you had come to an audition, if we had your contact info, and we did. Do you want to come audition for season 8?
Nice.
So really, like, you just have to throw everything to the wall and see what sticks. So that was The Voice was. And then getting on Music City Roots was a friend of mine. I'm sorry. I'm old and don't understand how to make this stop dinging. So I'm just going to toss it over here. I literally tried. I put focus on. I don't know what's happening. But anyway, a friend of mine named Todd Snyder, who's a musician, a folk musician here, became my friend because I heard he was playing like a concert at this like little artsy room just for fun. I went, I met him. He told me leave some CDs at this bar. Because I wanted him to hear my music. I did. He ended up emailing me, and I ended up getting in contact with Music City Roots to get on there through him. So it's just always, and the only reason I told that long story is to illustrate that the struggle is real, but the hustle is deep, as Alyssa Edwards says.
Yeah,
the struggle is real, but the hustle is deep. Like, you just do it, and every little thing counts.
I was gonna say, I also think there's something to be said for just like, a lot of people think that to have a break, right? Like, you get a break or a big break. Yeah. It seems with everyone I've talked to, like, it's actually just a series of little breaks. And they keep getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And like, there's this snowball effect where eventually, like, okay, there's a critical mass that at some point just like rolls over into something. Yeah.
I am the master of failing forward.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's super important for people to hear, though, because I think a lot of times we are just searching for that, like, okay, where's this big opportunity? And you might be so focused on some big imaginary opportunity that you miss the small ones that are actually great opportunities, but are just closer to you. So I think that's a really cool way to kind of picture it, being constantly just grabbing the thing that's within arm's reach and then grabbing the next thing and the next thing. That's cool. Yeah.
And I also think success is relative. Like, I don't think people, or at least I shouldn't even say people, because get down on myself for not being like more successful or whatever. But I think just to be able to play music for a living and have people listen to your music is pretty amazing.
That's massive success in a lot of people's eyes. That's a huge success. But also that's the drive, right? Like, as musicians, even if we are at that point, like, there's the drive. I want to do more. I want to play a bigger stage. I want to have an orchestra behind it. And that's not it's not, I don't think it's an egocentric thing. I think it's this desire to like truly reach people with the core of what our music is, which leads me to ask you, of course, like, what is it that in your, even in the covers that you curate for yourself, there is this sense of like, you have a message that you're wanting to convey. And I'm curious if you could tell me in your words what that is.
I think for me, it's just, there's a lot of joy and a lot of pain and a lot of trauma all kind of inside of me. And I just want to be understood and understand and like let that out. So I think that for me, that just comes out in my voice no matter what I sing.
Totally.
So the message is really that. And it's also like just being older, being queer, being a woman, being bigger, to just do my thing and not let like any of those things that so many times could be like, oh, like that inner demon could stop you from doing. So that's like a personal thing of mine. But I guess in my music, I would say I'm just very emotional. I'm an emotional person.
Yes.
I got to let it out, Frankie.
I know it. It's got to come out. It's going to come out one way or another.
It's got to.
And we might as well have some level of like control over what that way is.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what music is for a lot of us, right? It's catharsis. It's therapeutic. It's all these things of letting like so much of what's inside out in a healthy way. Otherwise, it's going to come out some other way.
Yeah, it's a really healthy way. Like to even just to listen to sad songs. I'm a big sad song person. Yeah. They really allow me to tap into that and have like that release.
Yeah. Is that, I mean, what do you want your audience to feel, right? Like, I think that's a good way to kind of, do you want your audience to feel sad, or do you want your audience to feel like heard, understood, that same kind of catharsis?
Heard, understood, free, and like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
And you kind of give them an example, right? You say, look, this is what I'm going through, and I'm up on a stage singing about it and smiling, like, and it's some deep, real shit. Like, so I feel you. That's cool. Yeah. And so you get to also work. I mean, we talked just a little bit before we started recording. You get to work with other artists as well. And I know that like you just started on, you've got a cover of the U2 song, right? Like coming
Pride.
Out and Pride.
Yeah.
Coming out, which is great. Love it. We love it.
Yeah.
Is it coming out for Pride Month?
Yeah. So I think it's going to be out before this even air. Like we're going to be talking about this online as it's out.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Dave Audet has been amazing to work with on covers. And originals too, so far. So
he kind of crushes it, right? I mean, he's like won Grammys for basically taking a song and being like, what would make this more fun to dance to? And then people are like, yes.
Yeah, he's epic at like making something really fun. He just loves to have fun. He doesn't take anything super seriously. He's just really fun and really loving. Really cool guy, and he's really good at his job.
Yeah, because you've worked with them before as well. Like I think that we'll put in the show notes the Pride so that people know that where to find that. But also, we can talk about a cover that I just heard of yours that is out probably like right now.
Yes,
that to me I was like, so it's "Need You Now" by Lady Antebellum.
Yes,
and I think everyone's heard the song in some capacity, and I genuinely was not a fan of that song. It felt kind of cloying and a little bit like
it's
needy
slow,
and
slow.
maybe and like borderline
slow,
toxic
sad,
in some
sad.
ways. Like but then I heard it as like a club disco bop sung by a goddess, and I was like, oh shit, that actually makes sense. Like this very of this song makes sense to me, and the video's amazing as well. But like,
thank you.
I want to hear about what this process. Like how this process went down between you and Dave Audet, and like who came up with the idea to sing this song for you? Why cover this song in particular? What was the production process like? All that stuff. Let's get into it.
Cool. So I met Dave through this guy, David Macias, who owns this record label called 30 Tigers, a very Americana, but he's got his hands kind of in everything. And he's a friend of mine from long time friend in Nashville, acquaintance. And he basically was like, hey, I have this vision for you and your career that you would do this Disco Diva thing. I think it's perfect for you. I think there's a really great market for that. And I just see you like you're such a diva. This would be really cool. And
was that a big pivot for you? I mean,
yeah.
Were you doing a lot more blues and Americana kind of stuff?
A lot of blues and Americana, soul, but it was just like that was the world that I could reach within an arm's reach.
Yeah.
So it's harder to do, I think, pop music or anything like, I don't want to say like electronic, but like,
sure,
you're in a different
super
arena.
Polished, right?
It's super polished, and then your performance arena isn't like, let me play this listening room that holds 100 people. So I've primarily like made a living playing listening rooms, which is like, okay, this holds, 100 people and everybody comes and pays 20 to 30 bucks each ticket and I entertain them and I make a living doing that.
Yeah.
This is like totally out on a limb. I have no idea. I'm going to perform these songs in those rooms that I've booked. I'm going to perform it all over in any capacity I can.
Yeah.
Sometimes to tracks, sometimes with the piano. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just very different for me. So David connected me with Dave. And I went over to his house and we just hit it off. Like, he's just fun and easy to talk to, and we just hit it off.
Nice.
And he had a remix of Need You Now with Lady A's voice. This was because he just does remixes of things if he's inspired or if a label hires him to do it or an artist hires him. So he was inspired to do this remix of this song. Yeah. And I heard it and I was like, oh, I want to sing on that.
Yeah. And
I'd never heard, I had heard the song, liked the song, but it wasn't for me in terms of like performance wise.
Sure.
It was sad and more reserved. And so for me, his version of the song had this fierceness to it.
Totally.
That everything he does has. And I was like, oh, okay, I could bring my fierceness to that and get into that song that way. And it's a little bit, it's just my voice speaking it. It's almost like, for me, I thought like, and I'm not in any way like egotistically comparing myself to this artist, but like whenever I think of stuff, I think of sort of like, what would it be like if Tina Turner sang this song or Mavis Staples or like you had a big voice singing, and it always works when you take a opposite. Like you could take a Tom Petty song and sing it. That would work. For me to cover a Whitney Houston song, why would I do that? Yeah. That bitch already sang the house down. She done it. That is not going to get better. Yeah. Maybe a TikTok, but a cover? It's not going to change the game. Yeah. So I just loved the song. And it was actually the first one, because we did sing some other ones. It was the first one where I felt like Dave and I found our groove, and I found my voice working with him.
What else did you sing, just out of curiosity, that didn't make the cut?
Well, it hasn't not made the cut yet, but we've got some other, we've worked on Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. We're getting somebody to do a duet partner of it. Like, nice. As in like, and if this world runs out of lovers. Oh, so fun. Yeah. So 80s. And the first one we sang was Sarah Bareilles' Brave. And it's great, but it's got a lot of words. And for somebody with my voice, I need a little more space. Yep. I get that. Space.
You want to soar.
I need to soar. I need that time to spread those wings.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I'm looking forward to hearing anything that comes out between the two.
Oh, we've got so much. There's originals and there's a bunch of covers, and we just plan on dropping stuff on y'all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I do want to talk about your originals too. Like, I think that a lot of the stuff you write is, like we kind of mentioned earlier, it's like quite empowering. And it's also,
thanks.
There's something that's very like, it's big, it's cathartic, it is held notes a lot of the time. Like, what do you have a particular style you like to write in? Or is there a way that you go about writing music? Is there like, you sit down and you just clunk it out on a piano, or are you get inspired, or how's that work for you?
I really love to write to tracks. So like if somebody has a track and they're like, this is a track, I mean, a lot of it will change as it goes, but like just an initial beat and some kind of music sort of gets me feeling like, what does this remind me of? Or what would be good over this? Or here's like the bass. Let's say it's like, this is a vanilla cake? What kind of frosting? What kind of filling? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then I go from there and sculpt and shape and might change the chords or change up whatever. So I'll get an idea like a sort of a center, like what's the heart of the song?
Yeah.
What are we saying? And that's just got to be like elevator pitch, tiny, like what are we saying? Whether it's like love yourself, trust yourself, it's okay to make mistakes.
Sure. It's the mission statement.
I don't know. What's the mission statement?
Yeah.
Bingo. So what's the mission statement of the song? And then how do we say that in a clever way?
Mm-hmm.
And does saying that initially also, is that going to go with this song? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that like, what's
there.
the music sort of calling for?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Or
That's
sometimes
cool.
though, I might have a lyric, like just a lyrical idea, and then I might look for music for that lyric. So it really just depends.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah. I've talked to a few other people who they kind of go, I look for music and then I put my words to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I as someone who I primarily write in a style that's like kind of everything all at once, which sometimes is great and it works really well for me.
Yeah.
But like a lot of times I'm like, damn, this is the same 4 chords I know. Like it's because I'm not a great instrumentalist. So
neither am I.
Yeah.
But I've learned over the years,
people only want to hear 4 chords.
The people only want to hear 4 chords, first of all, right? But then the other thing is, it's just, for me, it's all about the vocal melody.
Totally.
And luckily I'm good at that instrument.
Yeah.
So that is my biggest asset in terms of like writing, is that I actually don't, like, I'll stay away from the piano, I'll stay away from the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just not do that until I really have a solid idea of like, what am I doing vocally?
Nice.
Because otherwise, I tend to like get lost in it. And if I try to do it all at once, it's too much.
Yeah, it can be, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a difference in how you approach like covering someone else's music versus singing your own stuff? Like, obviously not from a writing standpoint, but just when you're singing it, does it feel different when you're performing?
I actually love covers.
Yeah.
I like wish I lived in the day
really
of.
Good at them, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wish I lived in the day of like Joe Cocker, and like I could just do that, because like I love covers. I mean, I do like writing my own stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's harder.
Yeah, of course, because you got to do all the
It's
work.
harder.
Yeah.
And then like you might write a great song, but like there are so many great songs out there, and
Yeah.
to give a voice to it feels like, I don't know. It feels like my purpose sometimes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. That's an interesting perspective for me, and I like to hear that.
Yeah, it's probably different. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people I know like hate covers. They're like, I don't like to do covers. I'm like, I love singing covers. I love to interpret a song, or maybe change things about the music, or maybe even not. And it's just me bringing my life history to those lyrics and what they mean to me.
Yeah, and thinking about that, there's something interestingly like, I think when we sing our own music, there is a built-in vulnerability, right? Like, because I wrote this thing, and now I have to perform this thing. And
Yeah.
there's a little bit of like preciousness that maybe gets in the way a little bit. Whereas like, if we're singing a cover song that has moved us so deeply that we're like, I need to cover this song, there's already this layer of like protection in that somebody else created the song. So you can kind of get rid of that and put more of yourself into the actual performance of it, because you're like not as precious about it in a way. That's really interesting, because I'm just thinking about for myself, like sometimes when I perform a song that's a cover, I feel like, damn, that was like, I was so much more into that than I get into some of my own songs at times. And that's an interesting way to kind of,
See,
Cool.
I always think that because I think, are my own songs not as good?
yeah.
And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, they're just incredible songs. Like, you can write a song all day long, but like, there are songs out there that you're just like, damn, like,
Yeah. I'm not writing yesterday.
damn, yeah, like I'm
You
not
know,
writing Imagine, like I'm just not,
those songs are
so
out
like,
there.
they're out there, so
They're so
it's
simple and so
definitely like, but there is, I think that's such an interesting point, because there is that added layer of protection,
Yeah.
like where you feel like you definitely feel like it's not your piece of art in that way. Mm-hmm. You know what the thing is too with covers? You don't have to convince people to like the song.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't,
Exactly.
It doesn't challenge them in that way. And everybody, like when I'm playing a set and I'm doing my songs, everybody loves my songs. And that's so awesome and it's the best feeling. But I bust into an Adele song and you hear the gasp of like, everyone's so excited because they fucking know. Because they've been drinking.
It's their song too now.
It's their song too.
Yeah.
And they've been drinking. And now they're like, oh my God, I love this song. I love this song. She's singing this song.
Yeah.
And so there's this sense of, with our own songs, having to win people over with them.
Totally.
And with other people's songs, they already know them. They already love them.
Yeah, it's a front-loaded win.
It's a front-loaded win.
Why not go in winning?
That's why I'm putting out some covers first with Dave before we put out our originals, because I want to get people to be familiar with this project and with this collaboration, because that's a great way to get people interested.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Hit them with that Disco Diva Potenza.
Hit them with that Disco Diva Potenza. And then
Which, by the way, I asked you briefly about your name because I was like, surely that's a stage name, because it's Italian for powerhouse, basically, right? It's potency, power.
I know.
Wild.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, thank you. It's my last name. I grew up.
So good.
It's my last name. Yeah.
So good.
Such a good.
Do you have a big Italian family?
Oh my God, they're ridiculous. Huge, like massive. I literally have a cousin named Eddie Manfredi, and he plays the accordion. You can YouTube that shit.
Eddie
it's
Manfredi.
True.
I'm
Eddie
looking him
Manfredi
up for sure.
I have so many cousins, and I have such a huge Italian family. When I was a kid, my father made homemade wine and homemade bread, homemade pasta, homemade everything. He made homemade sausage in the basement. Like when you think of like when the moon hits your eye and somebody's got like the sausage links.
And he's just grinding it.
He made that motherfucking shit at the kitchen table and we took that to school and ate it. We gave that basement meat to other kids. Now they would be like, you're not eating uncooked meat from someone's basement.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You had an album called Road to Rome?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Was that like just an homage to your lineage, or was there something specific?
No, so this is so funny. You're going to love this. Okay. So you know Bethany Frankel, like Skinny Girl, she's a reality TV show star. She was on like The Apprentice and Desperate Housewives or whatever Housewives, and she anyway, she started, I don't know if you remember, like 10 years ago, there was this craze where everybody was buying this brand called Skinny Girl Martini, Skinny Girl, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, she's like this business mogul. And she had a book about like her rules of life. And one of the chapters was all roads lead to Rome. And I loved this concept. I read the book and I loved the concept of like not making mistakes and that all roads would lead you to where you were going. So that was kind of there's a song called Road to Rome, and that's the title track, and that's what the song's about.
Yeah.
And
cool.
I did what I did.
Cool. I know. I think it's great. I mean, it works on multiple levels. It's great.
Multiple levels, yeah.
All right, so let's step away from music for just a second and riff for a bit. Like, what's been going on with Sarah the person? What's on your heart? What are you obsessed with right now? Is there a cause that you're like super into, or is there a TV show that you're super into? What's obsessed?
I mean, I'm obsessed with Drag Race, but that's been like
of course,
for like a really long time.
Forever.
I'm also obsessed with charcuterie plates. Really been into those. Okay. I'm obsessed with a game called Mexican Train.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just
Domino's
like this
game?
Domino's. Yeah, it's okay. So my girlfriend and I play games every night. We used to play Skip-Bo.
Love that.
It started with Farkle, which is dice. Then we played Skip-Bo. Now we play Mexican Train, and I really love playing games. That's been great.
Nice. Every night?
Almost every night we play games a lot. And we sit at the table and we play games. It's kind of our thing. It's relaxing.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it's really relaxes
cute.
us. So
just get a little drink,
get a little
tea,
drink,
whatever.
just little whatever. Hang out, make a cheese plate, play some dominoes, talk some smack to each other.
Yes.
Watch RuPaul, go to bed. I mean, that's
Thank you for listening to our episode. We're gone. Bye.
Right? Like
That's all you need to say.
that's pretty much the nightly routine at my house.
Summary of a good life right there.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So I've been really into that. What else have I been up to? I sing with Postmodern Jukebox sometimes. I don't know if you're familiar with them as a band, but I was just in the UK with them. I got to go to Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales, and then I went to Paris for a day with my mom.
Oh, come on.
No, but listen, my mom is so great. She's from Rhode Island. She's a baby boomer. She never leaves Rhode Island or goes anywhere. So we go to London, and she thinks that you have to tell the bus driver on the double-decker bus that you want the second floor. So she'll go on and go every time, and I didn't stop her. I couldn't. I loved it. She would go, second floor, please. And the guy would literally be like, okay, sit wherever you want.
Yeah.
I was dead. Like, I couldn't. And I told my nephew, he's 9 and he's so nice. And he goes, why didn't you say anything? And I was like, Auntie Sarah, she couldn't. She enjoyed it.
Yeah, you got to watch it. Like,
I lived.
You want to kill it.
I lived. We had a great time. I took her to Paris and she saw, the Eiffel Tower and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was amazing for her because she doesn't leave Rhode Island a lot, and to get to go on this big trip. And so it was cool. So I just got back from that. And my girlfriend just left today for Cancun because she works with Olivia Travel, which is a lesbian women's like cruise line resorts vacations thing.
Love it.
And she's going to play pickleball with like 500 lesbians.
Is that a euphemism? Or is that just straight up?
It's not. She's literally playing pickleball. Like literally like the game. I don't know. My girlfriend is like really fit and is into sports. Like she's one of those people who like is so naturally good at sports. And I just try to keep up. I'm very strong. I'm a strong person.
Yep.
But I'm not necessarily like thank you. Like let's go
play pickleball with 500 other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like fun. What was the name of the company again?
It's called Olivia Travel, and they do like cruises and resorts that are women only. Can be trans women, or you used to be a woman, now you're a man, but you still like identify as some. I don't know. Just whatever, whatever you want to be. Just women. Could be used to be a man, now you're a woman. Could be a person who's non-binary. I don't know. Just no men are allowed. No straight up men. Yeah. It's a no.
No straight up men.
No straight up men. Y'all are not allowed.
Love it.
But they do all these really awesome vacations, which create this really cool space for that community. And she works with them, hosting events and doing stuff with them.
That's cool.
Part-time.
Yeah. And this is a perfect segue too, because I always ask in my pre-show questionnaires, like, what do you consider your sexuality to be? And because it's something that I'm just interested in as a person, always have been interested in it. And also it's the podcast. It's Music.gay.
It's Music.gay.
And I think that like queer people tend to have a lot more intricate answers than straight monogamous people do. But your answer in particular really kind of tickled me because you said, I'm not really sure my partner is a woman.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. Like, so I really am not. So I was married to a man for 15 years. And I've had other experiences with women. This is my first like and long-term relationship with a woman. And I don't know. Like my girlfriend is a lesbian. And she just knows that about herself. Yeah. And for me, I just don't know. And I don't know that I'll ever know or not know. I mean, I don't plan on not being with her.
Right.
So I don't know. I just don't really. I don't know. I really don't know. And it's also like kind of like all happened not super recently. Like Kat and I have been together for a couple of years, but I recently got my final divorce. Yeah. And it's a lot. So it's like it's heavy. It's kind of a heavy subject for me in a way because I don't believe that I didn't fully love my husband. I don't believe that I don't fully love Kathleen.
Sure.
Or my ex-husband, rather. So I don't know how to answer that question without, like, sort of betraying this relationship or that relationship or myself. So I just kind of, like, say queer because it's sort of a blanket.
It's a great umbrella,
term.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, maybe it's bisexuality, maybe it's pansexuality. People tend to now be fighting over the difference between those terms. Who knows? Maybe you were straight and became a lesbian. Like,
I don't know. I don't know
have
how
to
it
know.
works. I don't know anything,
it's the
Frankie.
greatest. You don't.
I just don't know. I don't know.
In your day to day, does it feel any different for you? Like, are you like, oh, this, I feel more at peace with this relationship with a woman, or it's kind of like, no, it's same.
It's different. It's definitely different. I don't know if I feel like more or less at peace.
Sure.
We have a really amazing, healthy relationship, and women, and I don't know if it's women because I haven't dated other women. But my partner, Kathleen, is really thoughtful and is the type of person that if she says she's going to do something, she does it. And there's no, like, procrastinating or dragging her feet or having to nag.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like a lesbian relationship thing. People are probably going to laugh.
That's just certain people.
I don't know because, and I don't know if it's just me, because this is so deep and personal, but I'm going to share it anyways.
Cool.
Because my father was the type of person who was a procrastinator and who my mother did have to nag. I think I've always been attracted to those types of men. Where it's like sort of a fixer-upper, if you will.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sure.
Dad.
Yeah.
He won't watch this. He doesn't.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he will. Hi, Dad.
It's okay, Dad. Hi.
Dad,
Hi,
I love you.
We love you, Dad.
Love
You're
you,
so nice.
Dad.
But
I've always sort of had those types of relationships where I was the, like, we need to do this and we need to do that. And, blah, 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 blah. And the man was more just like, less of the go-getter, less of the instigator. And I don't know if that's a difference between men and women, but in my relationship now, Kathleen is very driven and it's something that I'm very attracted to. And also, I'm very attracted to her physically. Yeah. In a way that I wouldn't say like I wasn't attracted to my ex-husband or men per se. I don't know. But like, it's just, it's different with a woman. Like, it's there's an emotional component to it, to the physical as well, that is really special. It's really special.
And it's the one that you hadn't found with men in the past.
Not the same. Yeah. Not the same emotional connection tied into the physical stuff. Yeah. There's just it's like a drug. It's cosmic. And I don't know if that's just my chemistry with her because I don't have anything to base it on really, where it's just magical. Yeah. And it's also really fun to be with someone who, girls or women in general, have a special bond about things like, let's like we share makeup and we share jewelry and we share perfume and we would share clothes if she wasn't so tiny. But like, so like that type of stuff, that's very like feminine. Yeah. That we share is really special and something that I would share with like my best girlfriend, but now it's also my lover, so it's really like elevated in a way.
That's cool.
If that makes sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense. Well, and I have that same thing with my wife, right? Like I consider myself to be pan or omni or whatever, or maybe it changes tomorrow. But like in the feminine aspect of that, I completely understand. Like I have felt in relationship with my wife, like so embraced by that sort of, I won't say sisterhood because it feels really weird, but like the feminine ability to kind of like provide those things back and forth to one another. We share makeup as well. We share jewelry as well. We do share clothes, right? Like,
oh, that's beautiful.
We kind of have, to me, I feel like my kind of feminine aspects are like really deeply held and loved and in some ways even shaped by my relationship with her in a way that I haven't felt in the past with male or assigned male at birth lovers and that kind of thing. So I do get, there's definitely something there. I don't know if it's strictly a man or a woman thing, or it's just the type of people
There's
we're
something
attracted
cosmic
to.
about it. Like, because your wife is born female, and that there's something cosmic about the way that I think that women can tap into emotion, and that, like, looking in your eyes and just a touch and a look and a kiss and a encouragement and support, and that, there's just something about it that, but it doesn't feel like different in terms of the amount of love. It's just,
totally.
I think when you're in love, you're in love. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally different. Like, maybe not quantitatively, not that you can quantify love, but like qualitatively, there are differences. And I would say, like, backing out of the whole like kind of gender binary of this whole thing, like, I think of it as like, you know, feminine and masculine expressions of things maybe, but also it is just individual people. Like, I've been with some people who were, you know, maybe assigned male at birth and were incredibly feminine and yet identified as men and had these things that were like super present. And then I've been with people who were born women and identified as women and were like, I felt almost feminine around them. They were so just empowered in their masculinity. And so it's like, and there's these things that come with that. And there's like so many shades in between and intersex people and everything that it's like, I think it's its own whole world of like discovery when you do open up to be like, okay, I've been with these people and now I'm going to be with these people, and it changes one to the next. But it is interesting. It's nice to hear you say that, like, you notice this qualitative difference and this being your first relationship. I think, like, with women, if you were to possibly date some more, you might be like, oh damn, no, it was just Kat. Like, you know,
no,
like,
I don't know if there'll be any other dating. I think I think we're gonna lock it down.
Good, love that. Love
Yeah.
that. We'll let her know, or she already knows.
I'll just let her know.
Great, yeah. Send her a text on her cruise.
Yeah,
and
send her a
like, hey,
text.
by the way,
when this
by
podcast
500
comes
beautiful
out,
lesbians.
Yeah,
I just want to let you know.
Lock it down.
Yeah, lock it down.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I also love that, like, you don't have a hard definition on your queerness. I think that's so important. Some people are like, this is what it is, and it won't change.
Well, I think it would be easier if I did. I would love to just be
Maybe
able
not.
to. And there are times, I don't know, like, I feel like my heart changes about it. Not changes about it.
Totally.
But I just kind of like, I just don't, I don't think of myself. I'm certainly not straight.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think of myself as a lesbian.
Yeah.
But I guess if I was married to a woman for the rest of my life, would that make me a lesbian?
No, not necessarily.
Right? I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Kathleen does. I don't think so.
God
But
bless her.
but Kathleen came out as a lesbian like in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Like when people were not coming out.
Yeah.
Like back when like people were dropping like the F word on TV and laughing at the word fag. Like it was no. So
and it wasn't gay people saying it, right?
And it was like Eddie Murphy, and everyone was like, "That's great." So I think for her, she knows who she is. She's always known who she is, and she's fought to be that person. And God bless that.
Yeah.
For me, it just wasn't as linear, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. No, that's great. And I think like nowadays too, everything has become so, even within the definitions, it's become so fluid in some ways that like it doesn't matter. Like if it makes, for me, if I were in your position, I'd be like, sweetie, if it makes you feel better to consider me a lesbian, that's fine.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
Go for it.
I'm sure she does.
Great.
And go for it. I have, when people ask me that question, I just don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe also I just made a huge life change. I was married to a man for 15 years. Maybe I am a lesbian, and it's also another thing that's a big part of change in my life that I'm working through accepting. I really don't know.
Yeah, cool.
I know that I've always been attracted to women. Like when I was a kid, like through high school, in my relationships with men, I would still think about women. So
Yeah, I feel you. I'm married to a woman, and I still think about men all the
I mean,
time,
look
and
at
I
you.
still sleep with men.
Look at this outfit. Look at this outfit. Come on.
Yeah, this doesn't scream
Girl,
straight,
please.
extremely
Girl,
masculine
please.
man.
Come
No.
on.
But okay, so that's great. I think it's nice that we have the flexibility, and I love hearing that. You've lived a life. You've been married for 15 years. It's not like you're 20 years old. Like
no,
you've had a life, and you still are like, I don't know. I don't know. And I think there's so much power in not knowing and just accepting that you don't know. And I love that. So
I just have to accept it. Because like people will definitely try to define
of course
what you are, especially now that I'm out as queer. Every single, and no offense, every single outlet has been like, well, how do you identify? Like your sexuality. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Shrug emoji.
You're like, I don't. That's the part of this podcast, honestly, that for me has been the most, like, I think liberating in some ways, is like, I have talked to 20-year-olds. I've talked to 40-year-olds. I've run a gamut of like different people who are on different places in the infinite spectrum of sexuality and identity. And like, everyone is a little bit like, if we're honest, I'm not sure what I am. I'm not sure what I can say. I'm not sure if any of this is going to get me in trouble. Like,
right. We're also cautious now.
Exactly. And I think it's important to know that like within this community, there's going to be people you can tell someone like, I'm 100% gay. And someone in the LGBTQIA community is going to be like, well, that's fucked up because of this, right? Like, we're just people. And we're all trying to figure it out. And people have biases, and people have certain words that are going to trigger them. And people have certain things that they're like, well, that's not right. You're saying that wrong. And it's like, whatever. So I think that like your original answer is kind of a beautiful answer because A, it's totally true to who you are, and B, it's probably going to get you in a lot less trouble in the long run. If you just go, I don't know. Boop.
Let's just leave that in there.
Boop.
Let's just leave that in there.
Good.
Oh my God.
Does your art, so I guess this is the next kind of logical question. Do you feel like your art is impacted by that at all? By your...
No.
Not at all.
I feel like just love no, I feel like I've loved like the people that I've fallen in love with, whether they've been male, female, everything in between. I don't personally feel like, no, I maybe that'll happen. I really love, if anything, my art's been more affected by gay men's culture. Like I love the club and I love drag and I love everything like big performance, big, like if anything, that's been so much more of an influence on the art that I make than I suppose the lesbian community. So maybe, I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm a diva. I love to be a diva. I love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you then about like, as you enter this new Disco Diva era for yourself, which it suits you so well. Can I just throw that out there? It just works so well. And I love, Americana blues. I get it. I love that we've seen it and it's great and you kill it. But Disco Diva, there's not too many of them out there right now. And you're so good at it. So
thank you.
What is your dream for yourself right now in this moment?
My dream is to be able to play big shows in venues that are big enough to support my show the way that I want to do it. And whether that's 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100 people, whatever is the way it's going to be more than 100 people. I just want to do bigger shows, but I want to not do bigger shows because I want more fans there as much as it's the environment of costume changes, lighting, a big, thing. However, like that works. That's what I want to like do and see. Like I want to like the costume changes, the lighting, the whatever. I want like to be able to do my show my way and not have to like make decisions just based on money. Does that make sense?
Yep. Totally. 100%. Yeah. Bigger venues allow for bigger productions.
Yeah. Just the big production of it all. Like I've done that shit with Postmodern and it's been amazing to like be able to do something on that level where you have costumes and you have staging and you have a lighting designer and you have in-ears and sound and you have a set that you put together and you rehearse and it's a show and it's with your band and like the way that it's done is like how can I explain it? Like
it's instead of these little segments that you put together on a stage, it's one big thing that you're
it's just this one big like beautiful. So that's my dream. And to make money doing that would be like incredible. And I would make money doing it obviously if I and to be able to like design a show and be like, okay, we have rehearsal and let's sit back and design like what are the costumes and what are the songs and what is the set going to be like and how are we going to go out and entertain people and lift them up. And I love to create a show like that gives me life.
Yeah, same.
To create like a show in a moment and not just like go on stage and play piano and guitar for myself or have one player. And that's great too. It's a show, but like to be able to create something special,
something big, something special.
Yeah. And have like that super memorable and to have that longevity where I can always create like, this was this tour and now I'm doing this tour. And it doesn't have to be the biggest thing ever. I don't have to be Taylor Swift or whatever, but just being able to do that, even like Postmodern does, which is usually like 1,000 people, 1,200 people, would be a dream come true. That would be like, to me, success.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, here it comes. We love it. What is something that you would tell yourself as a little you, little Sarah, about being a musician? If you could go back in time.
I would say focus on you and your career sooner and let go of like all of that stuff. A lot of family trauma, a lot of stuff that held me back and kept me from pursuing my dream at a younger age. Yeah. I'm a late bloomer because I spent a lot of time obsessively worrying and caught up in all kinds of stuff and doing things that were not meant for me. Yeah. And so that's something I would tell her to like do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would tell little you about being queer?
I would say not to like let anybody hold you back and that you deserve to be happy. Yeah. And there's no, I would just say you deserve to be happy and there's no shame in being queer. There's no shame. None. Because I had weird, like I felt as a kid growing up in the 90s just weird about it. I was like, oh God, like that being attracted to girls made me feel different than my friends. And like, am I like, if they knew, would they like think of me differently? And am I like gross or wrong or like a pervert or like what's wrong? You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I would be like, no, it's okay to just be you.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Cool. You ready for a lightning round?
Oh my God. There's a lightning round? Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Where do you go when you die?
Heaven. Duh.
Great. So then I guess this next question answers itself. Is there a God?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
For me, yes.
Can anyone be a musician?
I think anyone can play music.
Cool. I'll take that. I read the shade of difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you believe anyone is really 100% straight?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song of all time, probably "Bird on a Wire" by Leonard Cohen.
Yeah. Cool. A lot. We've had at least a few Leonard Cohens so far. God,
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Favorite book?
Guru by RuPaul.
Love it. Favorite color?
Hot pink.
Yes. Favorite flavor?
Favorite flavor? Umami.
Ooh, yeah, nice. It could be a specific food too. I'm realizing that because some people are like sour, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm expecting like someone to say
like a flavor. Like I don't know.
Umami. MSG.
Yeah.
Just
MSG. Yeah.
And what is your word of the year? Do you have one?
my word of the year is healing.
Ealing?
Healing.
Healing.
You were like, ealing? What's that?
Well, that's when you go fishing for eels.
No.
Like, great.
No.
That's weird.
Healing?
But Interesting. Good. Healing. That's beautiful. Okay. Fuck, marry, kill. You ready?
Okay.
But you have to choose them.
Fuck, marry, kill. Okay.
Yeah. You got to choose the people. Who would you fuck? Who would you marry? Who would you kill?
Oh, God. I have to choose the people?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think you have to say the person and then I
know that's how the game
them.
usually works. I just like to ask people, if you could kill anyone, if you could marry anyone, if you could fuck anyone, who would they be?
Okay, I would, not because I'm an anti anything political, I would probably kill Donald Trump, but only because I just don't want to hear it anymore.
Everyone.
Everyone says that. I'm just done.
No, but it's great. It's totally fine. We can all want to kill Trump.
Yeah, I'm done. That's done. It's done for me. Like, I just saw it today. They were like, there's going to be a new debate and blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, come on. We did this. We're doing this
How
again.
many seasons of this reality show are we going to have to watch?
Oh, my God. God. Can I say that I would fuck and marry my girlfriend, Kathleen?
Totally.
Because she's gonna watch this and I want her
100%.
to know that.
Yeah. And then you can tell me the actual one after we get off.
No.
I'm kidding. Kat, totally kidding. She said it. You heard it all. This is the truth.
You heard it all.
Okay. This is a slightly asynchronous portion of our podcast where I'm going to have you write a line of a song with me.
Okay.
And so the way I see it is you are, and it's so perfect that it's you, because I think you are starting the chorus to this song. So far, we have God as an echo of your thoughts. God is the ocean and the blue raindrops. Come with me, the sky is getting dark. Tomorrow never is too far. Idols are poisoning your thoughts. Real's what you make it, and it's been here all along. There's no extra credit for suffering, so live up this life as your only one. That to me feels like two verses.
It does feel like two verses.
And now we are moving into the chorus. So you are going to be writing line number 1 of the chorus.
Wow. Let's put is this just sort of whatever comes to your mind?
Whatever comes to your mind.
Let's just put take my hand. Done. That's the first line of the chorus.
Great.
It's done.
Done. Okay. You've put your stamp on it.
I put my stamp on it.
And I'm gonna try my best to turn this into a fucking song at the end of this season. So, all right. If this podcast, that was also, by the way, by far the quickest anyone has.
Just quick. I don't have to overthink it.
Love it.
Yeah, you don't have to. When you sing good, you don't have to overthink it.
Exactly.
You could just be like, "Take my hand." Done.
There it is. Done. That's actually going to be the whole song. It's just going to be you singing.
Going, take my hand. That's it.
Love it. If this podcast had a slogan, what would it be?
What would it be? I don't know. I mean, we got deep.
Well, we did. We definitely did. But that's not a bad slogan. We got deep. We
got deep. Yeah. Did we offend people? I don't know. Is everyone going to be like mad at me and be like, she's such an old school turfed closeted lesbian and wants to tell bisexual people they can't be bisexual because people told it to her, that old bitch. That's the slogan, actually.
Perfect. Can't wait.
That's the slogan.
I think it's perfect.
Everyone's going to love it.
Everyone's going to love it. They're going to be like, what is this show? Is there anything else that you want to add?
I think we covered so much. I just want to thank you, Frankie, for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course. This was an absolute blast. And thank you everyone else for tuning in to Music.gay. You can always find us on Instagram at Music.gay. And it is all spelled out, Music, D-O-T-G-A-Y. You can email us at music.gay@gmail.com with your comments, suggestions, artist recommendations, lavish praise, whatever you want to send our way. But save some of that praise for Sarah Potenza. Sarah, you are wonderful. If you agree, dear listeners, please go to sarahpotenza.net and find her on Instagram at IamSarahPotenza. Again, that's SarahPotenza. on her site. She has great music, great live videos, show dates. Awesome hoodies, by the way. The pink Worthy hoodie.
Thank you.
So good.
Thank you.
Go buy one of those.
Gotta have a good hoodie.
I'm definitely gonna go buy one of those hoodies.
Thank you, Frankie.
It's just good.
It's
right?
good.
Like, you don't.
It's great.
You don't have
It
to
says
know
Worthy,
that it's Sarah
pink.
Potenza.
It's
It
great.
doesn't say Sarah Potenza all over.
Yeah, it's just a good piece of merch.
Great piece of art. Good piece of merch there. Support queer artists. Support women. Support this podcast. Support local musicians. Do what you can. If you love Sarah like I do, share her stuff. Share this podcast with all of your wonderful friends so they can find out about her as well. And thank you, Sarah, once again for being on the show. I love you. I love your music.
Thank you so much, Frankie.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome. All right.
Next episode comes out in a couple weeks. So until then, everyone stay gay and cheers.
Cheers.